So, Netflix's new movie, Pieces of a Woman. It was something, wasn't it?
Yeah, like honestly, like if I was on Netflix and I was just trying to pick up something I would watch, I would not watch Piece of Woman because it didn't intrigue me. So because you mentioned, it, I was like, I'll give it a shot. And I don't know, I don't really know how I feel about it. Like the thing,
Before we get too into it, just for anyone who doesn't know, the film follows a wife and a husband as they struggle with their grief following the death of their baby during birth at the hands of a midwife. Obviously, some great family comedy stuff. So you said, Darius, that you're not like sure exactly how you feel about it.
yeah, I knew what they were going for. It's definitely not the type of movie I would watch or want to watch. Um,
Hmm.
but again, I think Shia LaBeouf was great. Like his performance after, especially seeing it after Transformers, like way back then, and seeing him now, he's definitely improved. He's definitely changed.
He's
Um,
absolutely he's
and
terrific.
Vanessa Kirby, I thought was great. Like again, the cast, the acting was on point. It's just it wasn't the type of movie I would watch. Like I was within an hour in, and I kept, how you kept looking at your phone in Midnight Sky. I kept doing the
Yeah,
same.
yeah. Like the movie, I will say the movie is a bit slow, and unfortunately, and I'm not gonna say it's too unfortunate because it's good overall, but unfortunately, it does peak in the beginning with that opening birth sequence. Like that is absolutely incredible. Like what they did with that, the fact that like it was so intense and so intimate. Like the rest of the movie is fairly intimate as well with what they show, but that sequence in particular, with what they do, how it's filmed, like most of that, I'm thinking about this. I'm like, is this all in one shot? Is this all in one? Is this all in one
Yeah,
shot? Like it,
it looks like it
it
was a
looked
one shot, but
yeah, it was
the
pretty
thing with one
seamless.
shots, however, in films and I think in television is that if you really do it well, or even take after take, you can stitch it together so it doesn't seem like it's
Mhm.
entirely a one shot. But and anyway, like that entire first sequence, I somewhat enjoyed until I noticed how long I was into the film. So I was like, okay, this is excruciating. Like, I knew exactly what they were doing. We wanted to
Mm.
see the birth. We wanted to see her struggle with this birth. And then the revelation of what happens afterwards. I understood that. It was just for me, I couldn't take it.
It's a lot. It's a lot to it's a lot to take in for sure. And again, like this maybe this is me. I like it when a movie messes with me emotionally. I can't say actually no. I can say that it took me there. But like most of the time, I was like, "Wow, they're going there. They're pulling this off. Oh my god, I can't believe they're wow." So again, that was for that first sequence. Again, the rest of the movie after that, like when they're basically coming to terms with everything that happened in the months after, it's not as good. It's not bad. It definitely feels a bit slow at times, but there are certain emotional peaks that really do sting. And I think there's one. Um, there are a couple scenes, of course, with Vanessa Kirby where she really stands out. But there's another one with Ellen Burstyn, who's also in the movie. I'm not sure how old she is. I know she's up there, but she's still got it. She's
Oh,
still
yeah.
got it.
And I think I know what scene you're talking about, too, because that was a great scene.
There's a scene with her and Vanessa Kirby's character, and she stung, man. Holy
Yeah,
shit!
I know
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
she's still got it. So this movie, I want to say, was like it was a little bit over 2 hours. I don't know if it's quite worth that
Two
amount of
hours and
time.
20 minutes.
It was 2 20. I thought it was like 2 6 or something like that. Either way, it was over 2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours, and I'm not sure if it. I feel like it could have possibly been shorter. It could have possibly been shorter, but again, this is a very heavy portrait of grief and like how they're basically how their lives like almost fall apart from each other,
Yeah.
and it's tough to watch at certain points. I'm not gonna lie, but I think it was worth it. I think if you're in a little too good of a mood, if you're in just a little bit in too good of a mood, then I think this movie will equalize you just a bit. But I think there are times where people wonder like oh, why do I want to watch like sad movies or whatnot? Why do I want to watch like this heavy stuff? And and everyone's different, but at least for me, I think that it's important to I guess feel those sort of things. Like life
No,
isn't
yeah,
just
for
like
sure.
happy hunky
Definitely.
dory all the time. I think you need something to equalize you every now and then, as long as it's satisfying. Like the movie's heavy, but it feels satisfying in a way too.
No, yeah, like for me, when I was watching it, just because again, like it's not that it was long or slow. It's just that there wasn't enough for me to want. to keep watching all the time, and I just felt
Hmm.
that it was at certain moments it was dragging out, and like in general, I just felt bored. I just felt
Yeah.
bored, and there were certain parts where it's like, oh, okay, maybe something's about to happen, and then it doesn't happen. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
why'd you do that to me? And it's not that I don't like you playing with my head. That's fine, but it was just a bit of the music and a bit of the tonality just didn't grab me in as much as I thought it would. In the beginning, it did. One shotter, we're seeing the birth, everything like that, awesome. Everything else after that just felt to me, certain pieces were amazing, from the acting perspective and everything like that. Like the scene with her, Vanessa Kirby, and, her mommy essentially. That was probably one of my favorite, if not standout scenes, because I just thought that was so powerful and pivotal
Hmm.
in what's to come after, especially in the end. But yeah, like in general, for me, it's definitely not the movie I would have, gone to a theater or anything like that to see. Or if I was just scrolling on Netflix, I definitely wouldn't choose it. But I'm happy I did to see, just a different directing style, different visual style, everything like that. And again, there are moments I did like, but not, to me, it just didn't feel whole as it should have.
Yeah. Like, and I had an odd feeling that you weren't gonna like this one, but but I figured like
Like the
let's
thing is,
try
it's like
something
it's not like I
a little
didn't like
different.
it.
I'm not sure.
Like the thing is, it's not that I didn't like it. It was just that it didn't grab me in for the emotional impact I thought for a movie dealing with grief and losing, what she lost in the beginning. It just didn't hook me in enough
Hmm.
because I felt that they skimmed over certain segments of her character that were just like, okay, wait, when does this happen, or why, or how? And sometimes the time skips that you see in the text also drew me completely out because it's just like, okay, this is getting a bit out of hand. Like the fact that you had to put this, like I understood why you want to show a length of time of her going through this stuff, but I
Hmm.
still think that some of the stuff maybe in between that we could have seen, that actually did heavily impact her and Shia LaBeouf's character could have still been implemented for me to hook me in a bit more. Again, that's just me personally. So,
Yeah.
because I'm
So
definitely not saying it's a bad movie. No, I'm
yeah,
just
no, it's
saying,
definitely far from a bad movie.
yeah, it's
I can
definitely not.
definitely see it not being for everybody. If I went to the theater to see it, I'm not sure how I would have reacted. If I'm being honest, because
Same.
I watched the comfort of my home, with our Netflix subscription, so I didn't really have to sacrifice too much, just a couple of hours. But I can't say I'm disappointed that I watched it. There were definitely things about this movie that really stood out to me. Performances across the board are really terrific. Like I said, it's very intimate, and it's interesting to see like how the two different characters, the husband and the wife, handle the grief. Um, you know, and even from like I said, from a cinematography point of view too, how seamless these one shot scenes feel. That stood out to me, and I didn't think it
Yeah.
would work. It did. I didn't. It never felt gimmicky because it had a very fluid feeling to it all. So, all
Yeah,
in
and
all, props.
one of the things I will admire about this film as well, especially as someone who is trying to write more and write more stories and scripts and everything like that, is I like the fact that almost every single emotion and every single emotional change that was implemented in the film was shown and not told.
Yeah.
Almost every single one, and I read that and really enjoyed. One of the scenes that also stood out was really her in the beginning looking at clothes and the little girl. It was like, not a single line of dialogue, but you just knew what was happening,
Yep.
and I liked that. And even throughout the film, you still got a sense of that. In the end, in that court scene, oh, I love that scene and everything
That
that it
was great.
represented. So well good, so well made. Everything was shown, and I like that. And when they were saying stuff, the tonality is what supported it and made it even more impactful. So again, definitely not a bad movie, definitely not for me, but there are the smaller moments kind of made up for the whole of how I felt about it, cuz I was bored, but those small moments, those intimate scenes, I was like, yo, that is, oh my god, that's excellent. you know. So,
Yeah. So yeah, good stuff overall. Um, yeah, we're keeping